The holidays don't usually start with spending. They start with a feeling, a sense that something is coming, that time is moving faster, that this part of the year matters more than the rest. And long before anyone buys a gift, that feeling has already done its job. Because holiday overspending isn't really about money. It's about pressure, memory, expectation, and the quiet fear of falling short. Every year, the same pattern repeats. Stores decorate earlier, ads appear sooner, emails arrive daily, limited time offers, holiday exclusives, countdown clocks. Everything is framed as temporary, urgent, and emotionally important. The message is subtle but consistent. This moment matters, and how you show up for it says something about you. That's where spending begins. Marketing during the holidays is different from marketing at any other time of year. It doesn't just sell products, it sells meaning. It connects purchases to identity, to generosity, to love, to tradition. You're not just buying something, you're proving something. Sales play a huge role in this. Discounts don't just make people spend less, they often make people spend more. A sale reframes the purchase. It stops being about whether you need something and becomes about whether you're smart enough to take advantage of the opportunity. Not buying feels like missing out. Buying feels responsible. This is why people often leave sales events having spent more than they planned while still feeling like they saved money. The holiday season turns that dynamic up to its highest level. Everything is on sale. Everything is framed as now or never. And because the calendar is fixed, there's no room to delay decisions. Gifts need to be bought. Travel needs to be booked. Plans need to be made. Spending becomes time-bound, which reduces reflection. At the center of all of this is gift-giving. On the surface, gift-giving looks generous, and often it is. But psychologically, it's also one of the most powerful drivers of overspending. Gifts are not evaluated the same way as everyday purchases. They're loaded with emotional meaning. People don't ask what fits their budget. They ask what sends the right message. A gift becomes a proxy for effort, for care, for thoughtfulness, for success. And once gifts are tied to emotional outcomes, spending becomes harder to control. No one wants to be the person who underdoes it. No one wants to disappoint. No one wants to be seen as cheap or careless. This is how overspending happens quietly. One gift becomes two. A small upgrade feels justified. Wrapping, cards, shipping, last-minute additions all add frictionless costs that don't feel like spending in the moment. They feel like completing the experience. And because holidays are social, comparison is unavoidable. What others give, what others receive, what's posted online, what's talked about casually. Even when people know better, those signals still influence decisions. Sales amplify this effect. A discount becomes a rationalization, a way to justify spending more because it feels like you're getting ahead. But discounts don't remove cost. They only change perception. The money still leaves. The credit card still carries the balance. The bill still arrives in January. That's another important part of the holiday spending cycle. The delay. Many holiday purchases don't hurt immediately. Credit cards soften the impact. Buy now, pay later spreads it out. Deferred interest makes it feel manageable. The emotional reward is immediate. The financial consequence is postponed. This creates a dangerous imbalance. Pleasure now, stress later. By the time January arrives, the holidays are over. Decorations come down. The emotional high fades, but the spending remains. Statements arrive. Balances linger. And people often feel confused about how it happened because it never felt reckless in the moment. This is why holiday overspending feels different from impulse buying. It doesn't feel impulsive. It feels necessary, expected, almost obligatory. The system reinforces this. Marketing frames spending as participation. Sales frames spending as smart. Gift culture frames spending as love. And timing removes the space to slow down. What's rarely acknowledged is how exhausting this can be. The holidays are often described as joyful, but for many people, they're also stressful. Financially, emotionally, mentally. The pressure to create a perfect experience collides with real constraints. Limited money, limited time, limited energy. That mismatch is what drives anxiety. Sales don't reduce that anxiety. They mask it temporarily. Another layer is nostalgia. Holidays are tied to memory, to childhood, to traditions. People aren't just recreating the present. They're trying to preserve the past. And that's expensive, because memory doesn't scale with income. Expectations stay the same even when circumstances change. All of this leads to a quiet but powerful outcome. Spending becomes symbolic. It stops being about the object and starts being about reassurance. Reassuring others. Reassuring yourself. Reassuring that you're doing enough. And when spending carries that kind of emotional weight, restraint feels like loss. The problem isn't that people don't understand budgets. Most do. The problem is that during the holidays, money decisions are no longer just money decisions. They're emotional decisions made under time pressure, social comparison, and constant persuasion. Sales accelerate this process. Marketing perfects it. Gift culture normalizes it. That doesn't mean the holidays are a mistake, or that gift giving is wrong, or that sales are evil. It means the environment is designed to push spending forward while delaying the consequences. Awareness changes how this feels, not by eliminating spending, but by understanding what's actually driving it. When people recognize that urgency is manufactured, not natural, decisions slow down. When they realize that sales are designed to increase volume, not protect their finances, clarity returns. When they see that generosity isn't measured in price, pressure eases. Stability during the holidays doesn't come from refusing to participate. It comes from separating meaning from money. Because the holidays aren't expensive by accident, they're expensive by design. And once that design becomes visible, spending stops feeling like a personal failure and starts looking like a predictable outcome of a very effective system. Overspending isn't about lack of discipline. It's about being human in an environment that knows exactly how to influence human behavior. Understanding that doesn't remove the temptation, but it does restore agency. And agency is where stability begins. Happy holidays, everyone.